Namaskar and welcome to Vision of Asia, Voice of the Community. I'm Kala Shankar. This is election season in India. The largest democracy is engaging nearly 897 million voters in these polls. We will have a conversation about the 2019 Indian elections in This Week with Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh. And a very special ITV Gold exclusive conversation with Ambassador Harshvardhan Shringla. He sat down with Dr. Sudhir Parikh, editor of News India Times Sujit Rajan, and Ashok Vyas at the Indian Consulate. We will also have a special report with Ambassador Harshvardhan Shringla as chief guest at the Indian Consulate to mark the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. The Indian Consulate hosted this event with Jaipur Foot, USA. The theme for this exhibition and seminar was Indian for Humanity. A report on a panel to explore South Asian community activism. A report on India dialogues with guest speaker Sri Seshadri Chari, Lieutenant General Syed Atta Hasnain, and Ajoy Bose. And an annual charity dance event organized by the SKN Foundation. A very exciting program, Vision of Asia, full of vibrancy and variety from our community, right here on ITV Gold, after this short break. The Ambassador of India to the US, Honorable Harshvardhan Shringla, came to New York just for a day on April 5th for an event hosted by Jaipur Foot, USA with the Indian Consulate. Prior to a formal event, he sat down with our chairman, Dr. Sudhir Parikh, editor of News India Times Sujit Rajan, and program director of ITV Gold, Ashok Vyas. Here are some excerpts from that conversation.
I want you to share your memory of being in the presence of President Trump here while you presented your papers, because there's so much that people have heard about him, and probably you had certain image, and I don't know if there's anything that has stayed with you which you can share. And in addition to that, I want you to share your thoughts on President Trump has always talked about America first, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi mentions India first, and both are right in their own way. But when the space of trade comes, there is a likelihood of certain difference of ways of looking at trade and causing some sort of a trade war. So these two issues.
I arrived here on the 9th of January this year, and within 48 hours I got an appointment with the President. I can say that the meeting that I had with the President in order to present my credentials was one that I remember with a great deal of positive sentiment, because the warmth, the candor, and the goodwill that he expressed when he met me was truly unique, I think. He was very affable, very kind, very, I would say, even jovial, and I left having a very good feeling about his sentiments, first and foremost for India, and of course, his very close relationship with the Prime Minister. In fact, he said he had just spoken to our Prime Minister, and that he was looking forward to speaking to him again, and speaking to him often. And I think that reflects the sense that the two countries, the progress that we've made in recent years has been on account of the leadership exercise both by President Trump and Prime Minister Modi. So we are led, the relationship is led at the level of the principles, and that makes it easier for all of us to be able to implement the basis on which both leaders attach importance to the relationship. And of course, and I think that is where we are involved in that process. Now, with regard, of course, to what you said about America first and India first, I think you would have seen that Prime Minister Modi has made a statement saying that there is no contradiction between America first and India first. Both countries have priorities, but we are both engaged in cooperating on areas that are mutually beneficial. And
in 2018, India's exports were 54 billion and US exports were 33 billion. So will this, yes. So Is this the retaliation game or the tit for tat game, whatever you want to call it, is that going to end when this deficit narrows, or where do you see it headed in the next 5 years? Another issue which has created conflict between the US and India, and that is on the immigration front. Recently, there was a big sting operation at the University of Farmington, and you played a big role in kind of drawing all the government agencies together, including the consulates here. What is the status of the students right now, those who were detained? And there were more than 100 students who got in that sting.
The issue of immigration, of course, is something that the US has to deal with. But as a country that is affected, we are fully engaged with the United States in explaining our position. Needless to say, I think our point of view on this is that the H-1B visa provides the United States with the possibility of having access to technically qualified people who can add competitivity to US industry. 83% of all H-1B visas are utilized by US industries, who are paying, I'm told, as much as $40 billion in order to access the H-1B visa, paying to the US government. And of course, the fact of the matter is that, if the US is one of the top companies technologically, there has to be a basis for that. I've always maintained that some of the finest minds in India are here in the United States, studying here. We have 227,000 students who cumulatively contribute $6.4 billion to the US economy. Many of them come not only for wisdom that they get through the courses that they undertake, but also for the experience and expertise that comes with working for a short time in the United States. That is where the H-1B visa comes in, and most of them are from the STEM program. And if they can join for a certain period of time and contribute to the high-tech development and the high-tech industry, I think that is, again, something that is a win-win for both of us.
Share with us in what way the way you have sustained your interest in India and commitment and your presence here as well as in various Indian American activities. Do you see the same continuing with the next generation, and anything that you may want Ambassador to sort of share his thoughts in this direction?
I think it's very important that young second generation and third generation should continue with the same zeal and same emotion to help the India and US-India relation, as well as philanthropic work in India. And I think we started this work in early 90s when we were giving the internship to the college graduate in our organization called Indian American Forum for Political Education. And from that, today we see that over 300 our Indian Americans are staffer in Capitol Hill. That when we see that, we feel so good and satisfied. And so we have to continue doing this. This is not one day job. This is a continuous activity and thing. So let me just conclude to thanking Ambassador His Highness for giving his time to community. And sir, on behalf of Indian American community, I would like to thank you for your vision, wisdom, and guidance, and hopefully you will continue to guide us next 3 years to make US-India relation, to bring it to the next level. And one more kind of good news is that myself and Parikh Media and ITV Gold is going to be a major media partner with the Gandhi Goes Global, which exhibition coming in a couple of months. And we are very proud of it. And you can always count on our group, media group, as well as me personally, for any service we can be helpful to India and your office.
Jaipur Foot USA has shared the compassionate spirit of India across the globe by serving humanity. Jaipur Foot is offered without any cost to those in need with dedication. Director of Jaipur Foot USA, Prem Bandari, Ambassador Harshvardhan Shringla, and Consul General Sandeep Chakravorty honored some of the big supporters of this organization. An exhibition and seminar on Indian on Humanity was a very well attended and inspiring event, Here now is Ashok Vyas with a report.
Of Mahatma Gandhi to come to your function. It is not often that Sparsh comes and performs. Sparsh missed school today to come and perform. It is not often that the goals of a non-governmental organization like Jaipur Foot matches so beautifully with the goals of the Ministry of External Affairs and becomes a vehicle and a part of our diplomacy. So India for Humanity is an initiative launched by our External Affairs Minister, where India is partnering, the government of India and ministry is partnering with Jaipur Foot to take Jaipur Foot to the people all over the world. So I was quite overwhelmed by all these coincidences. And you know, that I felt that all the stars are in the constellation were aligned, that blessed us with such an event today.
I wanted to share some of my own personal experiences with Jaipur Foot. You already know the details what Jaipur Foot does, but on a more personal note, I was quite privileged in my capacity in Delhi when I was looking after some of our neighboring countries, that we, at the end of the conflict in Sri Lanka, as many of you know, it was quite a bloody conflict. A lot of people lost their lives. At the end of the conflict, one of the things we did two things which were, I think, linked to a humanitarian cause. One was we sent several demining teams. There are lots of mines in Sri Lanka. And these demining teams removed those mines so that people could go back and work in the fields, go back to their homes. But also, we had a good collaboration with Jaipur Foot, and Jaipur Foot was able to go and establish camps in areas like Jaffna, Vavonia, Mullai Tivu, and other places where a very large number of people had lost their limbs, lost their legs because of these landmines, because of the long, prolonged conflict that took place. And as the word spread that these camps were there, people came from all over the country. And in fact, we had to not only extend the period of the camps, but we had to also have a special camp, second camp in all of these places to accommodate the numbers of people that were rehabilitated, differently abled people who were rehabilitated physically, socially, and economically through the endeavors of the Jaipur Foot.
And in thinking a little bit about this wonderful celebration, I can think of no better example, no better way of demonstrating Gandhiji's dedication on his anniversary than the efforts of Jaipur Foot. I grew up learning from my grandfather as he had from his grandfather. And the way my grandfather teaches is often through stories, and stories of his time at Bapuji's feet. It's in the actions of Jaipur Foot and the incredible gifts that they give and have continued to give, and identifying need and meeting that need, choosing not to ignore all of our fellow brothers and sisters as we walk through this life together. I think that is the greatest way that we can cherish what we have been gifted from Bapuji, and also reinvigorate our responsibility to carry that teaching and that way of life into the future.
So, as you were sharing your first recollection of the fact that you are a part of this illustrious Gandhi family, how old were you at that time?
So all of my memories around my association, my membership in the Gandhi family come from my grandfather, Arun Gandhi, who I'm representing here today. Arun, my grandfather, Appaji, travels the world and speaks and teaches Gandhian nonviolence. And as a child, I recall traveling with him and sitting in one of those rooms, and much to my horror, as he got up to give his lecture, he announced that we were in the audience, and then announced that I would stand up and help teach everyone about Gandhi and nonviolence. And then I think I may have been about 6 or 7, I came to the podium and just anything I could think of that he had told me or taught me, stories he had told us about his time with his grandfather, with Bapuji, all came out. And that's my first memory of being initiated into the family.
So, any anecdote from the life of Mahatma Gandhi that you felt inspired you and kind of guided you during some challenging times when you were asking some difficult questions to yourself?
And what comes to mind is a story my grandfather tells of his time with the Mahatma in the ashram. And at that time, the Mahatma was in charge of my grandfather's studies, and he would come every morning with his workbook and a pencil to do his assignments for the day. And at one time he looked at his pencil and noticed that the pencil had become very small, and said, well, I can't work with this. And so came to his grandfather, to Bapuji, and said, Bapuji, I need a new pencil. And Bapuji looked at him and said, what's wrong with your old pencil? He said, oh, it was too small, I threw it away. And he said, you know, there are many kinds of violence in this world. There is the overt violence you see people do to each other. But there's many other types of violence, passive violence, that we do upon the people we love and upon the world that we live in. And the resources it takes to create that pencil, those are limited. And that not putting emphasis and not putting care into that is a passive form of violence.
You are watching Vision of Asia, Voice of the Community. This program reaches you Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. and we have a special edition of Vision of Asia for you every Sunday at 11 a.m. It's time for a short break. The program continues right after this break. South Asians for America organized a panel discussion to explore South Asian community activism. This forum was held at ThoughtWorks in New York City last Tuesday. This forum discussed issues affecting the South Asian community in various fields and what community members can do to become more involved. Here are some highlights from that event.
What was the purpose of that?
It was a team effort. There was a lot of hard work that went into this, but the original idea was it came from the fact that I believe in the South Asian community, there's a lack of information on a broad scale. So I think many members of our community in different areas do not have relevant information about the issues that actually affect our community on the day-to-day basis. So us, given the work that we do in the political space and how involved we've been, we have access to these people. We have a little bit of insight to their world, but what we wanted to do is bring these leaders and activists together and create a space where they can share information and where the community can learn and grow from them, and then we can actually make a few calls to action. And I think we achieved that today.
As you know, the South Asian community is very diverse, and that's something as an organization, South Asians for America is trying to do, is trying to reach all pockets of the South Asian community, to care about their issues, to see how we can help their cause or how we can get involved or get other people involved. So that's another reason why this panel was so important was, how can people in the general community, in the South Asian community, get involved? So I think we had a diverse group of people that came out. We had a diverse group of panelists. So, that's really what we strive for.
Let me ask you guys a little bit more questions about SAFA. When you're talking about SAFA and what I saw here at the event, there was a huge amount of South Asian youth that was present there. And that's something that we are really trying to focus on, is to mobilize amongst, generations such as us. What is your comment on this? And, what do you think SAFA is doing in order to really bring forth a voice for South Asian youth, which hopefully we can use to, campaign as well as also, increase our voter participation?
I think for us, it's really just every generation. It's not necessarily specific to the youth per se, but yeah, that is the future. So outreach is something that, we're really focusing on to try and get into law schools or universities or what have you. But really our goal is the whole community. We want to make sure that our organizations brings out the civic mindedness of folks. And so we want to be able to have panels such as this that focus on advocacy so that we can make the organization aware about issues in our community and then, as Neha said, call to action and really bring that out, because our community is not as civic minded as some others, but we're doing a really good job. And yeah, it does start with the youth, and we were very pleasantly surprised to see so many young folks that we haven't had before. So we're doing something right, with that.
Let me ask you guys, all three of you, the one question. How important do you think in this year is South Asian activity and participation when you are talking about political voices, either on a grassroots levels or a federal or a state level? What are your personal comments into, the condition or status of the community and where we should really advocate our voice? We'll start from you.
I think that's a tough question because, like Amit pointed out, our community is so incredibly diverse. Organizing for the South Asian community means that you are talking about a variety of faiths, socioeconomic levels, original nationalities, and every single one of these groups are plagued with different types of issues. And that's why I think it's so important, the work that SAFA is doing, because we're trying to bring together these different communities so that we can find a common ground to stand on, because the numbers are there. We are growing in population all over the country, and political engagement and growth, when you're together and you have the numbers, can be incredibly powerful. From my time working on the Hillary campaign, and now I work in state government, I see this time and time again, that the communities that can organize, the communities that can come together, are those that can actually affect change. And I think what we're doing here, and what a lot of other organizations are doing across the country, we're finally shedding light on these issues, and we're finally getting to a point where I think people are learning that we don't just have to sit back.
An annual charity dance event called Dance for a Cause was organized last Sunday at Montgomery High School by the SKN Foundation. The artistic director of the dance school, Dancing Shiva, Jeannie Berry, worked closely with SKN Foundation. This foundation works towards bringing awareness and showcasing children with special needs. Here's some highlights from that evening.
This is Dr. Naveen Mehrotra from the SKN Foundation, and we are here today celebrating our children of special needs at Dance for a Cause, our third annual event, where we have a dance showcase for our children of special needs to be up on stage along with all of the other dance schools and let them know that they can be a part of the regular dance performances. A chance where a lot of these kids may not have had is a chance that they had today, and it was just such an emotional time to be able to raise that awareness in our community about our children of special needs, that they don't have any limitations, that their parents should be proud of their kids on who they are, and that is what we celebrated today at Dance for a Cause. And ITV Gold, thank you so much for always supporting our cause, and for anybody who knows a family with a child with special needs, please do go ahead and contact our foundation at sknfoundation.org. That's sknfoundation.org. Thank you so much.
These children are so lovely. They give you a lot of love, and we owe them the love.
And I am the grandparent of, my Gia Berry, my granddaughter. She's in a special need. And we are so proud that they have, arranged this program and, raise money for the program. And I love it, I love it, God bless them.
Great cause. It was a great event, and we're really proud to be a supporter of this. We're proud that so much was being done here, and the kids did great, all of them.
Stay right where you are. We will return with more Vision of Asia, Voice of the Community shortly. News 18 organized Indian dialogues last Friday. The topic of the panel discussion was Election 2019, the new geopolitical context. The guest speakers were Shri Seshadri Chari from the BJP, Lieutenant General Syed Atta Hasnain, highly decorated former military officer, and political social commentator Ajoy Bose. This panel was moderated by Shreya Dundial. The chairman of ITV Gold, Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh, and the presenter, Frankly Speaking with Vibhuti Jha, were also present at this event. Here's a report.
In the United States, all of us are very keenly watching the elections or what is going to happen in India in the coming months. But I must say, as a diplomat, as a representative of the government of India, it is a great feeling to represent the greatest democracy in the world, in the oldest democracy in the world.
This was a very good event organized by TV18, and I'm really thankful to the TV18 for giving us an opportunity to talk to the NRA community in US. So I consider each and every member of this NRA community as the ambassador of India. So it was actually speaking to all these ambassadors of India who are doing fantastic work in the country of their adoption. And I also salute their determination as far as their love towards the motherland is concerned. I really salute them. They are doing a great job. And as I know about your TV, I think you are one of the best bridges between India and the NRA community. You are doing a wonderful job. Keep it up.
It was not that nationalism was an issue in 1951. Nationalism is not an issue. People don't vote for nationalism issue. People either vote for a positive election or a negative election. 1977 election, Mrs. Indira Gandhi lost. It was a negative vote against Mrs. Indira Gandhi. 2014 was a negative vote against the Congress. So every election is either a positive vote or a negative vote. In many of the cases, it is negative vote. I don't want this party, so I vote for this. Nationalism is not the issue. If you think that is the issue, it will be amounting to saying that the party which wins is the nationalist party and the party which loses is not a nationalist party. That is wrong.
After 70 years of democracy, democracy only survives another 500 years if the whole election process to be reformed. And what I see here, or what I hear from India, that though I am a BJP and BJP supporter and very close friend of Narendra Modi, this government has got the election bond. I think election bond makes election very opaque. Then there is no way to know who is buying those bonds, what purpose they are buying those bonds. Question is that why media is not discussing this subject at all.
We are all very proud of our electoral system. And considering that if you look at the evolution of Indian elections, we all know that it is becoming more and more and more transparent. And despite this recent very unfortunate controversy over EVMs, the fact of the matter is that we've had a smooth change of government and a very healthy competitive democracy, essentially because our elections work. And that is why something like electoral bonds become a key question of whether this sort of thing will increase the power of big money and will it actually increase the chances of a big corporate actually controlling Indian politicians, Indian politics, or whether it would really make it streamlined, more modern. And I think we need to debate this issue. And I think it's a huge failing of my tribe, the media, for not raising this question. And I think that I'm very glad that you raised this question and it's come from, an NRI leader like you.
And today was a very lively discussion on the geopolitical context in which these upcoming Indian elections are going to be contested. And we discussed various aspects. We looked at national security, we looked at bread and butter issues, We looked at electoral financing. And I think the general consensus was that this is going to be very interesting and keenly contested elections. And it would be, I think, unsafe to make any prediction of who's going to win, but that it would celebrate Indian democracy.
The Indian American Community for Narendra Modi campaign kickoff was organized in Hicksville. Community leader Jagdish Suhani coordinated this gathering where many people passionately shared their views on why they consider Prime Minister Narendra Modi to be the best choice for India. Here's a report by Ashok Vyas on that event.
years 20 घंटे बंदा काम करता है और कुछ नहीं है दिल में, बस भारत ऊंचाइयों पर पहुंचे, नो अदर, न उनको फैमिली है, पूरी भारत 125 करोड़ लोग हम उनकी फैमिली है. So a round of applause to our Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Now that we are in the middle of this election season, how do you see Indian political environment and your presence here? What is it which has prompted you to support Prime Minister Narendra Modi?
ऐसा है अशोक जी कि we have been living out of the country for a long time. काफ़ी देर हो गई है यहाँ, लेकिन हमारा दिल अभी हिंदुस्तान में ही है. अब इस इलेक्शन में ऐसा है कि जैसे दौर चल रहा है उसके मुताबिक ऐसा लग रहा है कि एक अच्छा गवर्नेंस इज़ फाइटिंग विद अ बैड गवर्नेंस. उसका ये रीज़न है कि ईमानदारी के आगे बेईमानी लड़ रही है. एंड दुख की ये बात है कि जो इस वक्त स्टेटस है हिंदुस्तान में, एक्सेप्ट फॉर हिंदूज जो हैं, देयर आर ब्यूरोक्रेटिक, द पीपल हु आर ऑलरेडी इन द गवर्नमेंट, देयर आर नॉट ऑनेस्ट पीपल.
India and America, they both have democracy. They both have large democracy. India claims to be a very large democracy, without doubt. We have a lot of voters. However, it's not civilized democracy in one respect, because people can be bought, people can be talked, and the fake news can easily sway the voters. And that is what the Congress has done all this time.
तो क्या विशेष बात आपको लगती है कि ऐसे पावन मंगल दिवस पर आप भगवान की आराधना के साथ साथ इसको भी इतना महत्व दे रहे हैं?
तो थोड़ी विषय से हट कर के मैं बात कहूँगा. बात यह है, हमारे शास्त्रों में एक सूत्र है और उस सूत्र को संस्कृत में कहूँगा, धर्मो रक्षति रक्षितः. यदि आप धर्म की रक्षा करेंगे तो आप रक्षित होंगे, आपकी रक्षा होगी, धर्म आपकी रक्षा करेगा. और इस कार्यक्रम में आने का कारण ये है कि इस पूरे पृथ्वी पर, भूलोक पर, जिसको हम कहेंगे, इस पूरे भूलोक पर आज की तारीख पर मेरे जैसे ब्राह्मण, पंडित या हिंदू मनुष्य के लिए, श्रद्धालु के लिए कोई धरती नहीं है जिसको वो कह सके ये हमारी भूमि है. एक धरती थी जो हमारी थी, उसको हम भारतवर्ष, भारत भूमि कहते थे, और उसकी पहचान आज भी हिंदुइज्म के कारण है, हिंदुओं के कारण है. पर उस धरती पर जो पिछले 70 वर्षों से, ये जो मोदी जी के 5 वर्ष हैं इनको काउंट नहीं करते हुए, उसके पिछले जो वर्ष थे उसमें एक तरह की विकृत मानसिकता वाले नेताओं ने, लोगों ने, एक पार्टी ने शासन किया लगभग.
Now, here's a discussion about the 2019 Indian elections in This Week with Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh.
And now, time for weekly show with a passionate India lover, Chairman of ITV Gold and Parikh Worldwide Media. Get ready for loving sharing from physician, philanthropist, publisher and India advocate in This Week with Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh.
Namaskar, welcome to This Week with Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh, and I take this opportunity of welcoming all of you as well as Dr. Parikh to this very special show. Namaskar, Dr. Saab. Welcome.
Namaskar.
So in the last week, there has been some interesting as well as exciting developments from India in terms of election 2019. Talk to me about special features from Sankalp Ghoshna Patra or election manifesto of BJP.
Well, I mean, election manifesto of BJP is more on economics and national security. These are the two important points. They were. It's kind of it stands out, and what a manifesto says that BJP would like to do $100 billion spend for next 5 years to build a huge infrastructure in the country, and by doing that, what will happen is there will be more job, there will be more people will be employed, and indirectly it will lift a lot of people from the poverty. And I think that's a very good concept of the lifting the people from the poverty and developing India into the 21st century.
So one aspect is related to development and development of infrastructure, another related to national security.
Yes.
On that count, do you see there is a distinct difference in the approach of Congress and BJP in the context of Jammu and Kashmir also? Both parties see differently Article 370.
Yes, I think both parties are seeing differently, and BJP even last manifesto also was saying that they would like to remove the 370 and 35A, but they could not do it in last 5 years. But I think still they want to continue that formula and going forward to make sure that the complete kind of assimilation of the Kashmir happens with India. And I think most of the Indian population would love it, and they will like it. So their approach is, I think it's probably is time to try that approach.
And of course, there will be people who would oppose it, and there are openly raising their concern and voice from Jammu and Kashmir. But moving forward towards the question of credibility or the way people perceive which leader is going to live up to his words. And as you mentioned that use of the word formula. So promises are made during election time, and many times they are not followed in spirit.
So at the end of the day, usually the perception of the people will be important, where they're going to cast their vote or who they're going to support. And again, the perception always creates from the past history and past experience. And what NDA has shown recently, that by having airstrikes and by having crossing the LOC, that they will not tolerate anything which is against. I mean, from the terrorist people to attack the Indian soil, because Indian sovereignty is a very important part of their manifesto or governance.
So India emerging as a strong nation, a nation which is not going to take it without responding adequately with force, is the kind of image which Prime Minister Narendra Modi has projected. And allow me to ask you, how do you feel when he addresses first-time voters and young voters and tells them that you should consider those who went for airstrike while casting your vote? So is it directly connecting the actions of army with politics? Is it okay? Is it not okay? What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's a gray area. I mean, because now there is a code of conduct for election. So I mean, it's kind of gray area. But he could have said same thing in the different words, and still would have gave the same message.
Absolutely. So the way we select our word would vary, of course, from individual to individual, from leader to leader. But now talking about one leader of Congress party who has sustained a campaign saying that Chaukidar Chor hai, meaning making a question mark on the honesty and integrity of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And at the same time, recently we have seen there are some raids from IT especially one particular related to OSD or previous OSD of Chief Minister Kamal Nath, where they unearthed 14.5 crores of cash. And also there were some papers which suggested that there could be some cash flow to the tune of 300 crore, something like that. So how do you see it is likely to play out in the election?
Well, I think anything which is illegal or immoral or which is not to be done by according to the rules and regulations of the country, it's no good. So that has to be pursued and punished. And I think it may kind of give the perception to the voters that Narendra Modi is very serious about pursuing this kind of black money or hawala money or whatever you call it. But the same token, I would be happy if government has kind of raided. I'm sure that there are similar things happening in all the parties. So instead of targeting one party, if you had done in all the party, including even BJP, if it is there, then it would have given more credibility. And
so what you are saying ideally makes sense, Dr. Saab, but now think about it, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, whosoever is pulling the strings, if they are aware that this raid is happening to a BJP headquarter or BJP, then they know that they will have to answer that why it is happening. So there is a catch-22 there.
I know this question, but I mean, what I'm saying, what I'm saying is, apart from election, wherever there is a illegal activities, doesn't matter whether it's done by BSP, SP, leftist, or whoever, everything should be followed and put the example. And obviously, this kind of raid on the Chief Minister's OSD, it's very poor optics for Congress. And I'm sure that will hurt Congress overall perception, and it will help BJP to earn some more votes.
Absolutely. Congress is saying that this is politically motivated. So anything that happens where some of the leaders are implicated or questioned, then they say that this is politically motivated. How do you see that works on the minds of common men?
Well, it again depends who we are talking to, and most of the so-called intellectuals may not believe it, or they believe otherwise, that this is politically motivated. Most of the hardcore supporter of any party will believe it, or rural people may believe it. So it all depends what section of the society we are talking to.
Now, talking about different sections of society and talking about some creative individuals, intellectuals, it happened during previous elections also, Dr. Parikh, that some people wrote letters, open letters, that do not elect this party or this leader because it might lead to some sort of a damage to Indian spirit. And similar letter, over 600 filmmakers and other people have written sharing their views why one should not vote for Prime Minister Modi or BJP, that this is against diversity. And some of the names includes very successful director Anurag Kashyap or Amol Palekar and things like that. So how do you see, based on the previous election, looks like these kind of expressions, collective letters makes no difference on the voters?
Probably you are right that it does not make much significant difference in the voters' mind, because they just they listen to it and they kind of brush it off. So I don't think there is any negative impact on in the election. But on the flip side of it, everyone has right to opine their personal opinion. So most likely most of the voter will take it as that, okay, that's their own opinion, and that ends the story. Absolutely. So nothing to worry about, nothing to be concerned about. and in election time, everything, this kind of thing goes around. It doesn't mean much.
So there is one thing with which we probably conclude today's conversation, and that is quite compliment for NRI community. I would say that the maximum remittance from any country.
Yes.
So India is number one, $17
Right.
billion in 2018. So now I want to connect this with the leadership of Prime Minister. Do you think it has something to do with ease of doing business? It has something to do with the kind of patriotic fervor or feelings which Prime Minister Narendra Modi traveling in different parts of the world aroused?
No, of course, it has to be do with the strong government, strong governance, and very decisive Prime Minister, leader. And of course, all credit goes to Prime Minister Modi. And always this kind of remittance or more foreign investment in India always comes when there is a confidence. So obviously, indirectly, the credit goes to the Prime Minister and Narendra Modi's government, because it perceived as a strong government, very strong governance, easy to do the business in India as compared to in past. And of course, that always increases the foreign investment in India.
Wonderful. And as we conclude this wonderful show with very engaging conversation with Dr. Sudhir Parikh, Dr. Sabes, we are very close to this election season. Many of our viewers on YouTube and other ways watch this program sitting in India. Also, what would you like to tell them? Before our next show, probably they'll start casting their vote.
Well, I understand that first stage of the voting is starting from tonight, means tomorrow, 11th of April. So I would urge all the voters that please vote for strong leadership, strong governance, and strong leader who can make who can take India to next level.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh, joining us for this show this week with lots of good wishes to you. And again, thanks to all our viewers for being with us.
Well, again, thank you, all the viewers. We'll see you. Goodbye, and we'll see you next week. God bless America. God bless India.
It is encouraging for us at ITV Gold to hear positive feedback from our viewers about the program content. Thanks for becoming friends of ITV Gold page on Facebook. If you're still not in the list of friends or followers of ITV Gold's Facebook page, now is the time. Please do write to us about events at the email ID events@itvgold.com and subscribe to the ITV Gold YouTube channel. That is all the time we have for this week's Vision of Asia, Voice of the Community. Do join us next week at the same time, right here on ITV Gold. Until we meet again, be well and take care. I'm Kala Shankar. Namaste.